You ever have one of those nights that just shatters your entire belief in what's safe and who you trust, in how a neighborhood should work? Yeah, that was 3:47 a.m. For me, the night my disabled daughter's ventilator alarm shrieked so loud it could have woken the dead. But it wasn't the noise that tore me apart. It was the sudden suffocating silence after the kind that tells you something's horribly wrong, the kind where you realize your kid's life hangs on a thin wire and someone just snipped it. I remember jolting out of bed, heart hammering in my chest, my wife, Sarah's voice echoing down the hall, pure panic. "David!" The ventilator stopped. "Our 8-year-old Lily has spinal muscular atrophy. She can't breathe without that machine." So I tore through the house past that weird buzzing quiet. And there she was, so small in that hospital bed, her chest barely moving, her face turning a color no parent should ever see on their kid. The backup battery was supposed to keep her alive, but when I flipped the switch, nothing, not even a flicker. Sarah was already using the manual bag, her hands shaking, tears streaming. "David, both systems can't fail at once." But here we were, both systems dead and only our house blacked out on the whole block. "Call 911. I barked, taking over the bag, squeezing air into Lily, one desperate breath at a time, every second stretching out, every squeeze a battle against the clock. I grabbed my flashlight, ran outside in bare feet, praying I'd find a blown fuse or a downed line, anything but what I saw, our main power cable, thick as my wrist, sliced clean and hanging like a noose. That's when I felt the cold stare and turned to see Margaret Whitmore, our HOA president, standing in my driveway at 4 in the damn morning, perfectly put together, not a hair out of place, like she'd been waiting for this. Well, Mr. Collins having some electrical problems," she said, lips curled in that frozen smile she saved for moments when she thought she'd won. I could barely keep it together. "Margaret, what the hell are you doing here?" I demanded, every muscle tensed. "Oh, just checking on the neighborhood. I heard a commotion." "Thought I'd investigate," she purred, eyes glittering. "Did you cut our power?" I asked, because I already knew, and her smile just widened. "Now why would I do that? Though I must say, this does solve our little problem, doesn't it? And if you've ever had an enemy who hides behind polite words and fake concern, you'll know exactly how I felt in that moment, rage and terror and utter disbelief. Our little problem was 6 months of her harassing us over Lily's medical equipment, complaining about the wheelchair ramp, the sound of the ventilator, the eyesore of our hospital supplies near the window. From the day we moved in, Margaret made it her mission to remind us and everyone else that Lily's needs didn't fit her vision of community standards. She wanted the equipment out of sight, wanted Lily honestly out of sight. She'd recruited other board members, filed bogus complaints, even called child services trying to make us look like bad parents. My daughter could die without that power, I told her, voice raw. Margaret's reply: "Well, perhaps this will motivate you to find more appropriate housing for someone with such extensive needs. This is a family neighborhood, not a medical facility." Before I could say another word, the ambulance screeched up, paramedics rushing Lily inside, hauling in their own equipment, moving fast. "She's been without proper ventilation for almost 20 minutes, one of them barked. Margaret just watched, stone-faced, muttering. Such a shame. If only the family had been more responsible. That's when I snapped. Training took over, instincts I'd hoped never to use on a neighbor. I grabbed Margaret by the shoulders. "Listen to me. If my daughter dies because of what you did, I will destroy you." She jerked back suddenly, not so composed. "You can't threaten me." "I'm not threatening," I said, voice deadly calm. "I'm promising. You mess with my family again, you'll learn what happens when you cross a federal agent." I let those words hang there, watched her face drain of color when she realized what I meant, FBI. Lily survived that night barely. 3 days in the ICU, brain damage from lack of oxygen. Her whole life changed in a flash. Dr. Martinez, her pulmonologist, tried to soften the news, but the truth is Lily would never be the same. Some days she struggled to speak. Some memories were just gone, but she was alive, and I knew exactly who'd tried to take that from us. I called my partner at the bureau, Jennifer, old friend, tough as nails. "Jen, someone tried to murder my daughter." I told her, voice shaking for the first time that night. "And I know who." The FBI crime scene crew arrived at sunrise, combing our property for evidence. What they found, the power line was cut with professional tools. Whoever did this knew exactly what to hit. The backup battery was drained, not just dead, but deliberately sabotaged over days. Surveillance footage from a neighbor's camera caught a figure in dark clothes moving like they knew every inch of our place, messing with our meter at 3:30 a.m. Even more footage showed the same person in our garage 3 nights earlier spending 20 minutes inside. There was no doubt it was an inside job, and it was planned. But here's the twist. Margaret wasn't just a petty HOA tyrant, she was a serial harasser. Digging through her past, I found a string of families she'd run out of other neighborhoods. Families with disabled kids, just like ours. The Pattersons, whose son had autism, she'd filed noise complaints, started petitions, bullied them until they moved. The Chin's twin daughters with cerebral palsy. Margaret made their lives a living hell, complained about their therapy sessions, even their van, until they gave up and sold at a loss. The Rodriguez family, she called the cops on their teenage son with Down syndrome, claimed he was a threat, filed so many false reports their marriage didn't survive. Margaret's tactics: relentless complaints, legal pressure, whisper campaigns turning neighbors against anyone who didn't fit her mold. The damning piece: emails to the HOA board. Margaret openly writing families with disabled children don't belong in normal neighborhoods. Sometimes you have to force people to see reason. Another board member, Patricia Webb, replied with concern, "We can't do anything illegal, Margaret." But Margaret, sometimes accidents help people make better choices. With all that, getting a warrant was easy. That night I led the team to her door, badges out, evidence bags in hand. "Margaret Whitmore, you're under arrest for attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, violation of federal disability rights." She tried to bluster. "You can't prove I did anything." But we could. Her fingerprints on the tool's surveillance footage. A paper trail of hate and harassment that stretched back years. The search of her house chilled me to the bone. She had files on every disabled family in the neighborhood, medical info. She'd somehow stolen photos of Lily through our windows, copies of our medical equipment manuals, showing she'd studied exactly how to sabotage them. And a journal full of venom lines like, "These people think they can just move in anywhere with their defective children. The Collins girl is the worst. Something needs to be done." And the night before the attack tonight, I put my plan into action. If the Collins family won't leave, maybe a medical emergency will help them see reason. Natural selection should take its course. Even as we hauled her off, Margaret's composure cracked only for a second. Then she hissed, "This isn't fair. I was protecting our community. Disabled children don't belong in normal neighborhoods. They bring down property values." She doubled down, ranting at the field office, calling Lily a burden, insisting she'd done the right thing for everyone. The prosecutor, Maria Santos, took the case personally. "We're going for the maximum. Attempted murder of a disabled child? That's as heinous as it gets." Lily pulled through, but she'll never be the same. She's tougher than anyone I know, but there are moments she struggles to find words to remember things she used to love. And the worst day of my life was when she looked up at me and asked, slow and careful, "Daddy, why did the bad lady hurt me? I didn't do anything wrong." I had to leave the room before I broke down. Margaret's trial was national news, an HOA president trying to kill a disabled child for ruining her vision of community. Her defense was as hollow as her heart. She claimed she was just enforcing standards. But the prosecution laid out her history, her hate, her obsession, testimony from other families, from experts, even from the board members who'd seen it coming but hadn't acted in time. Margaret took the stand herself, dug her own grave, declaring that communities have the right to maintain standards and disabled families should be in appropriate facilities. The prosecution played recordings of her from jail, zero remorse. If their daughter had died, it would have been natural selection. The jury took less than 3 hours, guilty on all counts. The judge, Patricia Williams, didn't pull any punches. "You tried to murder a child because you found her inconvenient. You will spend the rest of your life behind bars thinking about the future you stole." Here's the thing, though. Margaret's hate backfired. Our neighborhood changed. The HOA board resigned, apologized, set up a fund to help families like ours. Congress passed the Lily Collins Act, making it a federal hate crime to harass disabled families in housing. Every year now, our community holds a Lily Day, a celebration of inclusion, a big middle finger to anyone who thinks normal means welcome. And Lily, she's 12 now, still fighting, still smiling, and these days she says, I want to help other kids like me. Nobody should have to be scared because they're different. The very thing Margaret tried to destroy, she made stronger, she made louder, she made permanent. So yeah, Margaret sits in prison, clinging to her bitterness, while Lily lives surrounded by love, her right to exist affirmed by an entire nation. When you try to erase someone you see as imperfect, you only reveal your own ugliness. And when you mess with an FBI agent's family, you'd better believe the whole country's gonna find out who you really are. But you tell me, was justice really served? Or was this just one battle in a bigger war over what community truly means? Drop your thoughts below. Where do you draw the line between protecting your home and protecting your neighbor's rights? What does justice look like in a world where some people still can't see the humanity in every child? I really want to hear your take.